All right, so I timed it. This one, the one in the center here, this fella here, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Every 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that thing drips. So keep in mind that, I changed this oil at 700 miles, which is, the first oil change, which is, more than the recommended thing. So there's that, and I don't know what to say. This is a 2022. This shouldn't be leaking oil. It should not be leaking oil. Just, of course, my opinion, but if you're leaking oil when you get 700 miles on this, or it's 900 miles now, that's just insane. I mean, you get what you pay for, right? This thing costs $13,000 with a plow. So it's cheaper than your average fella, but just let me empty this oil. I don't know, I'm gonna do a few moves here. I don't want to take this engine out. It's just ridiculous. We'll see what happens. All right, so what I've done here is I got this thing jacked up a little bit, get the oil, all the oil out, the fill plugs out, and we're just emptying the oil out and get it. And I also loosen them bolts up because it was seeping out still, even with no oil, and I could see right there, it's seeping. So I'm gonna let this sit probably overnight at this angle and just keep letting it drip out. Whatever happens, happen. And then I'm gonna try, I've never used this stuff, maybe some JB Weld. It does say for aluminum and stuff. I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking. We'll just groove this out a little bit, this seam. We'll just scratch it up and try JB Weld, because I do have a welder for aluminum. I can actually weld that seam, and I know it'll stop the leak, but then if you have to crack this thing apart, then it's going to be problematic. I mean, I can, just, again, I don't want to go overboard and weld an aluminum case together, but I will if I have to, because the machine it's only 12 grand for this thing. I don't know how much an engine is, but I asked the fellow where I bought it, how much do you think to do this seal? He goes, minimum $1,500. I'm like, yeah, that's too much. So you can see here it's starting to leak, or seep rather. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and let this sit overnight and then clean it up best I can. We'll try the JB Weld thing and then add the oil for oil leaks, that additive, that Lucas stuff I was talking about. All right, so here's what I decided to do. So I took off the all them bolts up there, the plastic skid plate there, right? So I can get some access to here. Now, if you look up close, it's still got oil seeping there, but what I did was I took a wire wheel, a little fella like that, cleaned up the aluminum, and then took a Dremel, where is that, with a little diamond wheel, right, and made a little groove in there. I'm not going to obviously cut into what I want to groove in there to, and I don't know if you can see that. So there's still a little bit of seepage there. Again, I'm going to have to wait. I'll clean that up with some brake clean or something. I would imagine this has stopped leaking by now, but still little seepage there. But you can see that groove that I created with the wheel. Using this JB Weld, it needs to have something to adhere to. So that's what the plan is. Well, so I've never used this stuff. Just got to cut a section off, and I'll knead it up, and just reading the directions. I'm not, this stuff's been around for a long time, so there's that. But again, I've never used it. But we're gonna try this because, again, I can weld that thing permanently closed. I'm not sure how good this stuff is in terms of, like, if it doesn't work, can we get this stuff off, or is it going to be, just like a weld? I don't know. We're going to find out. So I'm going to cut a little bit, knead it up, and then we'll just kind of start. Hold on a second. We'll start, forcing it in there. And I let this sit overnight, and there was oil still leaking out of this crack here, which is crazy. I mean, the bolts are loose. I got one of them out. But still, it's at such an angle, it, sh it shouldn't be leaking out there. Again, I think I grooved that out a little bit. So let's work some of the stuff in there, and then it takes about an hour to cure supposedly. But as soon as I get it kneaded up in there, I'm gonna go ahead and put these bolts and tighten them up. And so not really a fan. So I got it kind of molded or pushed in to, you know, the crack, so that it wasn't leaking there, and it also was not leaking, you know, up here. So I didn't put any into them cracks, but it's basically the leak was this fella right here, and I think in this area here. So I've got that loaded up, and we'll see what happens. It says an hour cure time, so I'll wait an hour, come back, see what happens. I might wait a day to, looks like I see a seam there. And it's pretty much stiffened up already. I might wait a day before I put oil in it. We'll come back in an hour, see what it looks like. All right, so it's been a couple hours, and I was thinking about stuff. So I don't normally do a hack job. I would just replace a seal, right? So where I'm at with this is I was looking at the service manual. So you have to take, you know, according to the service manual, all the body panel, you know, the plastic body panels off, you know, to get this engine out. This is not like a lawnmower where there's 4 bolts, a couple of, like a choke and a throttle connection, right? So, and this has got, you have to undo the exhaust, you got some drive shafts, you know, crank sensors, all kinds of, like a car. So I'm like, this is why I'm doing this hack job. If this works fine, at the very least, it should slow that leak down from 2 minutes to hopefully, you know, 2 hours. But using a, so that noise, both sides, sounds the same, right? And I was using this brush a second ago, you know, where it didn't leak, to see if anything is like rubbing off. It seems pretty stout. It feels like metal. It doesn't feel like putty anymore. But I'm not going to put any oil in this 2 hours later. I'm going to let this sit overnight. It seems like it's hard. I don't know. I've never used this stuff. We'll see. Let's pick this up tomorrow. Well, it's been a day. I put a half a quart of this Lucas engine stop oil leak, right? And so far, so good. There are no leaks. That's just a little bit of sweat, the wetness. Because it's a little muggy. So let's put some oil in it. Start this puppy up and see if she leaks. It is kind of a hack, but that stuff is, I don't know, never worked with this stuff. It seems kind of hard. Seems like it's doing the trick. We'll find out here soon. Well, I had it running for about 10 minutes, and I was like, are you kidding me? But it's just the washer on the fill plug. I got it tight, so it needs a new washer. I'm not going to empty the oil out for that. I'll just let it drip. For now, I'm just looking at this. So I think I'm happy with this. At least it's better than it was, right? Every 2 seconds or every minute it was dripping while it was running. And now doesn't seem to be any evidence of a leak. Anyways, I'm okay with this little hack job for the time being. Really, honestly, to take this whole machine apart for that little seeping oil, you know, you have to take the body apart. We already went into this, you know, just too much stuff to go wrong just for a stinking seal or, you know, gasket rather. And if I did do that, take the engine apart, I certainly wouldn't put a gasket in there. I'd seal it with RTV silicone, you know, something hardcore. So anyways, that's all I got. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.